Twins can't beat the Rockies or the Nationals, which means the fans got to hope the front office can win at the trade deadline this week. We bring you the latest. You can take it. You just got to get Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to Locked On Twins, your daily go-to source for the top Minnesota Twins insight, discourse, and analysis. Personally, it's my favorite show of the Imperial Locked On Podcast Network, which, by the way, brings you your team every day. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe where applicable. I'm Dave Brown, an MLB writer who appears to have been fooled twice by the Twins in 2 years. It just might be time to sell. I'm also a BBWA member and a Hall of Fame voter. Not selling that yet, at least. Across the Great Plains of cyberspace is Brandon Warne, who is probably champing at the bit to see who Falvey and Zoll can get for Willi Castro. That'll fix everything. Brandon was a Twins fan who became a Twins writer, and now he's both. You can find his work at the Access Twins newsletter and mine periodically at Zone Coverage. On this podcast, the Twins are down to 8.6% odds per Fangraphs to reach the AL wild card. I think the odds were double that a few days ago. Twins dropped 2 of 3 against the Nationals a few days after dropping 2 of 3 against the Rockies. If that sounds bad, it is. We'll give you the latest from the trade front, including suitors for Willi Castro, plus the Twins' big bullpen pieces, and Harrison Bader, and who knows who else. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. From the world of Twitter, Bobby Nightingale says, he quotes Derek Falvey. He's the president of all operations on the Twins, including the game operation. Entering the break, it felt like we were gaining a little bit of momentum. The last couple series haven't gone as well as we would have hoped. Now the job is just to evaluate what comes our way. That actually isn't as good of a quote as I thought it was, but it sounds bad. It's sort of reflects how I feel. They're still, what are they, Brandon? They are 5.5 games back in the wild card race. I mean, that's not, they keep losing. The good news is the Rays have lost 4 in a row. They were in the back of the wild card race for a while. Now the Rangers have shot up there. They've won 9 out of 10 in 6 in a row. So there's a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5 teams ahead of the Twins for the wild card, not counting the 3 teams that will be in the wild card. So that's quite a bit of the American League. It doesn't look good. It doesn't feel good. It's really rotten. You think they might have hit bottom a few days ago, but they keep looking around for it, like it's like they're trying to step on something, but they can't even get out of their own way right now. 2 out of 3 to the Nationals, Brandon. The Nationals.
Yeah, after the Rockies doing it to them as well. Second half, Twins 3-6. So tied for the 5th worst record with Tampa Bay, as I believe you mentioned, and the Dodgers. Cardinals 3-7, Giants 2-6, Braves 2-7, and Detroit 2-8. So would have been nice to maybe make up a little ground on Detroit again. Not that that's really anything you got to care about right now, because it's such an insurmountable lead that it's really just what feels like a formality. But yeah, coming out of the break, they've dropped 2 of 3 in all 3 series.
When was the Pirates series? Yeah, I mean, you're right. Yes, they've dropped 7 out of 10 overall, including the last game of the first half. So.
Yeah, and so I mean, we can talk till we're blue in the face about, the schedule is easier for them down the stretch. They're not playing like they have that much interest in taking it, and I'm not claiming they're disinterested or any of that nonsense that's been going on as far as like they're not trying, but it's just, and I had broken down the stats as of the end of Saturday's game, and it was like with the bases empty, the Twins in July had like a 782 OPS. They were like 7th in MLB. With runners on, that dropped to like 680. 680, yes, because it was a 102-point drop, which was like 23rd. And then with runners in scoring position, it was like 699, and they were 21st. So our eyes are not deceiving us that when the bases are empty, they're getting on base at a fairly respectable rate. I mean, a 782 OPS is a solid OPS for a team. And then everything just kind of goes to pot. And I think that that's what we're seeing right now is they can get the guy on first, they can get the guy on first, second. They can even get a ground out to move those guys to second and third, but they are not cashing those guys in. And for the most part, their pitching has been good enough to give them a chance. Certainly not the case Sunday, and honestly not super great Saturday either. But they're just shooting themselves in the foot, the collective foot, far more often than a team with this much talent should do. It is absolutely mind-boggling, and I can't come up with an answer for it. You just
some of what hasn't been going on. Byron Buxton's been banged up a little bit. There haven't been too many times when we could say that this year. Most of the time that he's missed was for that concussion. He did go on the IL earlier in the season, I believe. But he hasn't been in the lineup to get the big hit. And one thing that's kind of been, he hasn't been the only guy getting the big hit. Harrison Bader has from time to time. But if one of those two guys isn't doing it, they're not getting a lot of production from a lot of places, and that's been the case. They haven't been, the offense hasn't been non-existent, but it hasn't been existing very well lately. And Joe Ryan throws in a clunker. His worst start in a long time in the middle of the series. They still only scored 2 or 3 runs in that game. It wasn't like, if only. And then today, just Jake Irvin. Isn't that a NASCAR driver? He hasn't been very good all year, but they couldn't do anything with him early.
He came in as, I think I saw a graphic that was like one of the 6 worst ERAs among qualified pitchers. Chris Paddock was in there, and so too was Mitchell Parker. Mitchell Parker, who beat the Twins on Saturday, had the worst strikeout to walk ratio among all qualifiers and the 3rd lowest strikeout rate. Now, Irvin did not strike anybody out until the 7th inning, and then he goes ahead and strikes out guys back to back. Like, it almost feels performative. Like, I can't imagine a franchise with this much talent not able to get out of their own way. I'm just bewildered by it. I really am. And it was like they were throwing the bat at the ball today. First plate appearance. The first inning was 4 pitches. Like, I don't know what goes on when, like, you need to know, hey, there's been 3 pitches. I need to work the count a little bit here. Nope. First pitch swings, lazy grounders, or hard grounders, but right at somebody. It's just, I'm baffled, Dave. I'm legitimately baffled.
Fans get upset. They want people to be held accountable, whether that means, a tirade by Rocco, a benching by Rocco. The problem with the benching is, like, well, who comes in? Who do they replace? Whoever you're benching, who comes in?
Here's Deshaun Kiersey Jr. You're going to hate him.
So it's not like the solution is there. Their depth is hurting a little bit. They do have there are some options at AAA. Maybe there are some guys they can go to, possibly. Some untested guys, some guys who have been tested before and kind of failed those tests. I'm talking about, like, Peyton Neals or Edouard Julien or, I don't know, Miranda. No. Just no on Miranda right now, please. They could try McCusker again, I guess. But that's what we're talking about here. We're not, it isn't that's like there's anybody coming through the door.
After the deadline is when they're going to run through those guys. And those guys might be lightning in a bottle, and the Twins might be better off. You might see Carson McCusker or Luke Keeschel isn't going to be as much of a bring this guy up as it is he's healthy. But if Carson McCusker came up and out-hit Harrison Bader the rest of the way, like, that would not be a shocking outcome. It just kind of is baseball. So it is possible that they'll make a handful of trades, bring up some other guys, and look exactly the same or even slightly better, which is to say it might still be pretty uninspiring, and it might just come down to, if the core guys ever do what they're supposed to, this should be a good team, regardless of the secondary or tertiary pieces. So I don't know. I'm basically rocking myself to, back and forth in a padded cell, trying to convince myself that it's going to be okay. And it's not working, Dave.
Well, they might be able to make some change on offense, but if they make a couple of moves at the deadline with pitchers going elsewhere, and I'm not even talking about like Joe Ryan, but I mean like Dan Coulomb or somebody like that, there goes that depth. And we've seen, Travis Adams pitch today, and I was hoping that they'd bring him up at some point, and then, well, that has not worked out so far. So it's not like they got oodles of depth there either. So
no, you get used to Cody Funderburk pretty fast if you trade Danny Coulomb.
Can you get used to Cody Funderburk? I guess maybe you can.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
We will take our first break, and then when we come back, get ready because we're going to talk more about the Minnesota Twins.
Have you ever decided at the last minute to head to a ball game with your friends or family? Today might not have been the greatest day for that, not because the Twins didn't play well, but because the weather was just ridiculous. Crazy hot. I mowed the lawn today, and it was 101-degree heat index. So I had the headphones on. I was listening to the game. But if you're downtown and you have some time to kill, or you just want to take some friends and family out to an event, that's where Game Time comes in. It's exactly the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the added stress. Plus, with the money you save on tickets, you'll be able to spend on food at the concession stand. You could go to the Twins store if you're at Target Field, or you could bring just some more friends with you, or maybe Uncle Bill. Who knows? But you could bring a number of different people with you, and Game Time makes it all possible. It makes buying tickets fast and simple because the prices on the app actually get lower the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got great last-minute deals, clear seat views. I love that panoramic seat view, and the lowest price guarantee, which takes the worry out of buying. And I love that you can see, like I said, what the view is going to be of home plate, center ice, center court, you name it, the stage. If you're going to a concert, those views are in the app before you buy. It's basically a try before you buy for tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee.
Lockdown Twins, we're back. Who will be back with the Twins for most of the second half? Probably most of the Twins. Yeah. There might be some guys who go. I thought there was an interesting quote, a very to the point quote from Joe Ryan today, in a story about just a general, what the Twins are looking like here at the deadline. And he said, this is from The Athletic, an Aaron Gleeman production. As far as a trade goes, I don't see it happening, Ryan said. And that makes sense. That fits in step with what we've seen. If you read lots of good baseball nerd stuff about trade big boards and who's likely to go, you'll see Joe Ryan's name in terms of like these graphics, these clickbait graphics. But when you get into something that somebody actually writes, like who's a likely trade candidate, you do not see his name. You don't. So it is going to be a surprise to the entire world if Joe Ryan is traded at the deadline. And, I get the feeling it is something interesting did happen today, not with a starting pitcher getting traded, but Seth Lugo was extended by the Royals for a couple more years. So he's off the
Have we seen the money on that yet? I don't think we have.
2 years with a vesting option, 40. I don't know. I saw money somewhere. I mean, it's not like a huge amount of money, but there's it's a 2-year deal with a vesting option for a third year.
So like 2 and 45 or something.
Sure. I don't know.
We'll call it that.
So, I mean, that's a guy who has been really good for about 50 starts or so for the Royals. An ERA under 3. Maybe Joe Ryan has a brighter future, but as far as somebody you could trade for this season, Lugo's pretty good, and he's off the market. So I don't know what that is going to do to – I mean, there's probably going to be one or two guys traded, but I think they're all of a nature that it's going to be really, really expensive to get it done. So I don't know. The Twins could get a pretty good offer for Joe Ryan, but I still wouldn't do it unless, if you're sending Joe Ryan and Griffin Jacks or something like that to the Red Sox for Roman Anthony, an offer that you're probably not going to get, I might think about that. But I just don't see that coming back Falvey's way. So Ryan, it looks like, as all indications have been so far, he's not going to be traded. Willi Castro, on the other hand, the Astros are interested. There was a story by Chandler Rome, who says, I don't know if I even have this here, but something like Willi Castro is the kind of guy, there's talk of Eugenio Suarez going to the Astros, but Willi Castro fits the Astros lineup better, and they might have a better trade partner with the Twins on that. So I don't, Ryan Presley's not there anymore. He's not coming back, so it's not one of those. But some kind of deal with the Astros for Willi Castro is something that we could see here. Castro rhymes with Astros.
Yes.
That could be a guy that goes, and he would be, before we get to your opinion, Brandon, he would be a guy that would make it harder for the manager, Rocco, to do the things that he likes to do with the lineup. So it would put even more pressure on Carlos Correa and the returning people to get that big hit. Willi Castro would not be in the lineup to do that. So we could be seeing the last of Willi Castro here in the next 3 days.
Yeah, and I know you're going to not be shocked that I'm not going to shed a tear over that. I don't think he provides the adequate value for as much as I don't know. I guess I feel myself stumbling here, but I don't like the skill set. I don't like the makeup of what he brings to the table. The ugliest strikeouts you've ever seen, the first pitch swings that are just ground ball. And again, I know the numbers because I like and appreciate the numbers. I've written for Fangraphs. I've written for Baseball Prospectus. I agree and like all the numbers, but just for me, I don't see it. And I think this is the right time to get out from that. And I don't know if that means you can call up the Astros and say, hey, let's talk prospects. Hey, let's talk, if they have any position players you might be interested in. They did trade a few guys for Yusei Kikuchi that they were talking about. It was like Joey Loper.
I didn't say that. Oh, you say
no. Corey Provis was talking about it on the game today about how not all trades have to be just prospects, but they traded, some big league guys, some guys who were factors or at least could be. And there's a lot of different paths. I mean, if the Twins could trade him and get back some pieces that maybe fit in the major leagues right now, but in different ways, or AAA, but very, very close, I think you could make a trade that makes you better in the medium term, if not the short term, and it might not be that difficult.
Somebody has suggested in the past that Dalton Rushing would make a good Minnesota Twin, and I agree. I don't know that you're going to get the Dodgers to do that. He's been kind of an integral part of they're struggling, certainly, but
yeah.
Will Smith has been having his best season, and a lot of it is traced to them having Rushing as a rookie available to give them competent play behind the plate on days when they don't have to have Will Smith in the lineup every day, which keeps him fresher, which makes him in better position to have his best season. But that would be a guy, if you could somehow, I don't know, if Jax or Duran and maybe somebody else.
Paddock. You can have Paddock.
Rushing. Sure. Oh, they could use him too.
I'm sure they could, actually.
They probably could. With some of the guys that they've used, yes, they could use Paddock, whether in the bullpen or.
And the Twins do not have an answer at catcher beyond next year. Say what you will about Christian Vasquez, he's a free agent. Say what you will about Ryan Jeffers, but I think he's a free agent after next year, or he's coming up on either getting expensive or free agency in the fairly near future. I thought it's one more year of control, but I can't be quoted on that. Usually I have Cott's contracts up so I can double check. But addressing catcher position, especially now that they've released Diego Cartaya, speaking of Dodgers catchers, and they just released
Camargo.
Yeah, Javier Camargo. Like, they are rolling with Patrick Winkle and Mickey Gasper. I mean, Mickey Gasper's in the big leagues for a minute right now, but they're rolling pretty thin at catcher in this system. So Mike Berardino used to warn me and say, don't trade for positions, trade for players. But in this instance, you'd be doing both.
That sounds more like a draft strategy, but I mean,
well, his contention was something to do with a team wanting a catcher so bad that they traded for John Buck. And like,
sounds like something the Royals did.
It was either the Royals or the Marlins, and he ended up being fine. Or maybe it was like a Jose Reyes deal or something where the team focused on positions instead of talents, and like, oh, we need 2 starting pitchers, so they picked 2, but it was like they didn't get the best players. They got positions that they thought they needed to fill, and those guys never ended up being any good. And so that was just a warning out to me. I think it was the Marlins, because that's where Mike was before Minnesota. So I think that was the case. But he said, yeah, it's just sometimes people look at trades in kind of a weird fashion, like positions rather than skills.
I see what you're saying, but you're right. I think you're foremost correct about the depth that the Twins have at catcher not being so good.
It's not good.
Seth Lugo. John Heyman reports $46 million over the next 2 years. So $23 million for Seth Lugo, not cheap, not a lot more than the qualifying offer, but this gives you an idea of maybe what Joe Ryan would want in a long-term contract. And that doesn't sound like something that this regime would be interested in doing. $25 million a year? I don't think so.
No, it's tricky too, because he's older than you think, and there's a looming lockout potential. And so, yeah, it's tricky, to say the least.
To rock a rhyme on time. Hey, let's do a commercial break on time. And then when we come back, you're not going to believe what we're going to talk about.
Well, before we get to that, though, we got to talk about FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing. And whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, football as they call it in Del Mundo, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. Figure it this way. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? And with FanDuel, you can do exactly that. You can get in on the game while your friends are out getting lobster-fied. They are getting sunburnt at the beach. I have been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups. I tell you what, I was really thinking the Twins were in good shape coming into this Nationals series, and they end up beating Mackenzie Gore, or winning the game started by Mackenzie Gore, and then losing to 2 guys who, no disrespect, fellas, inferior pitchers. So sometimes I think I know what I'm seeing, and I don't either. But FanDuel is good accountability for me, whether I make good takes or bad takes. And it doesn't matter. Am I playing a same-game parlay? Am I watching a bet ride into the 9th inning? Either way, FanDuel makes it feel like I'm in on the action, and the fast payouts cannot get past the fact that they're fast. There we go. That was
that is a mouthful. I like it.
You, sir, are a mouthful. Now, new to FanDuel, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started.
I'm not sure if I see anything in the Astros roster that I want straight up for Willi Castro. So
I was looking at they're not going to trade you Mauricio Dubon. That's their guy who already does everything Willi Castro does. Taylor Trammell, he's been good, but not like everyone grabs a post-hype sleeper hoping it'll go, and so he's been kind of been that guy for them. Otherwise, no, not particularly.
Or at least, you'd say something like, well, how about Bryce Matthews, the rookie second baseman infielder type? And then they'd laugh at you.
Or Zach DeCenzo. I don't know if he's any good. I don't know if...
it's not Doug DeCenzo. Remember him?
Yeah, I do, actually. Cub,
yeah.
right?
Rob Dibble hit him in the leg with a throw.
Rob Dibble sounds like kind of a meanie.
He is kind of a meanie.
Hey, I taught my son something cool this weekend. I taught him how to tip his cap. So maybe I'll get him on the show sometime. But I was pretty happy. Now I'll say, tip your cap, buddy, and he'll do it. Like he understands the assignment of like how you do it in baseball.
There's nothing better than a polite child.
Yes.
So there's that. All right, the schedule coming up. Now, I mean, if you want, I'm not going to say optimism, but there's control here. There's agency. The Twins play the Red Sox, an important team to beat if you want to jump them in the playoff line.
Yep.
That's 3 more games this week at Target Field. And then they go on the road. This, at first blush, yes, it sounds like the end of the season, actually, but it's where they can make up ground at the Guardians and at the Tigers. It has like frustrating 9th inning walk-off written all over it in the opener of both series.
Tyler Thornburg back in action or something.
Oh, my God. I just saw the Guardians play, kind of, against the Royals in Kansas City. I was not overwhelmed. I was not really underwhelmed either. I was kind of whelmed. They're playing better though, but they are said to be sellers as well. It's funny, the Royals and the team kind of going for it right now. I think the reason the Royals are kind of going for it is because it doesn't really cost a lot.
Yeah.
As far as dollars for contracts. So they should have gone for it in the offseason and added there.
There's not much to sell there, though. Like, Salvi's not going anywhere. Your pitchers aren't going anywhere. And you have no offensive talent to speak of outside of...
As it turns out. Certainly not to spare in a trade.
Right. Pasquantino's not going anywhere. I did see this, though. MJ Melendez hitting a little bit more in the minors. I don't know if he's an option, but I can't get over. I like the swing. I really do. But
yeah, he's a nice kid, too. He's back up. He's been up.
Oh, he is? So okay, I hadn't seen that.
They just brought him up. It just recently. So they got him. They got Randall Grichuk.
Yep.
There's a guy that everybody had on their list for the Twins for the offseason as a right-handed hitter. They got Bader instead. Bader worked out great. But
yep.
So now they got Grichuk and maybe Melendez in right field. And, Jonathan India is playing all over the place. Every once in a while, he runs into a 3-run game-winning home run against Emmanuel Clase. Other than that, he's been kind of disappointing. Mm-hmm. I think the Royals are fooling themselves, but also I don't think they're going to give up a terrible amount here in the future to kind of appear like they're competing. So good for them, I guess, going for it. I'm not particularly impressed, but but back to the Twins for a second. Red Sox, Guardians, Tigers. I mean, the deadline's going to come and go, and these series will still be going on. It's basically the Red Sox series, and then it'll be post-deadline mostly. But this is where we'll know if they have any chance at all.
Yeah, if it's over or if it's over.
Yeah, it could be over. It could be not Bailey over, but it could be over by the time they get done with these games. So this is just the kind of, but see, the bad part is it's going to make us all feel like even worse. So they could play these games and drop 7 out of 9 or whatever, and then it's just going to be depressing as heck. And the deadline will have passed, and there's nothing they can do. And am I setting up is it too bleak?
They've played themselves into this. It's their bed. They've made it. They're lying in it, and it just is what it is. I can't really sugarcoat it.
They might be getting back Ober soon. You'd think he's about ready.
Maybe even his next start. I would say it would shock me if maybe Adams wasn't sent out tomorrow for an extra arm, and then Ober makes that next start. Keishall, probably by the deadline when they trade somebody, make a spot for him. And then beyond that, it'll just kind of come down to who else comes up if they clear any more roster spots, which I anticipate they will.
All right. Well, before we go, it was a Hall of Fame day today. CC Sabathia, Ichiro Suzuki, good speeches. Billy Wagner, they have some good tales to tell about how they got here and what the state of baseball is and what it should be. Dick Allen and Dave Parker also getting in.
What a shame.
Dave Parker. Dave Parker.
And neither of them could be here. What a shame.
It is. Dave Parker died recently. His son read a poem that Parker himself wrote that was really good. You should seek that out on Twitter. It was good. And also Lucille got into the Mascot Hall of Fame. What does TC Bear have to do to get their invite?
Beat Brandon Warne in a home run hitting contest. And I retired undefeated. So
we want to make sure that you are subscribed to Locked On Twins. Are you? Because that way you don't miss any of the great Twins content we've got in store for you. That includes the Twins postcast with Luke Inman live after the final out of every game. Perhaps you listen to it today after that wonderful game. You get 2 shows for the price of 1, and there's actually no price. They're free. It's great. And finally, we want to thank you for making Locked On Twins your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Brings you every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. For my friend Brandon Warne, I'm Dave Brown. Wish you all a very pleasant good evening, saying we will Alexei Casilla tomorrow night. Yeah.